All right, we are live, or we should be live, as usual. Here we are. So today I want to talk a little bit about some of my favorite picks for headphones for 2017. And I think after that, I'll open it up to some questions. Now, the funny thing is, I actually haven't thought about this very much yet, because, of course, this week has been a bit crazy. So I'm kind of gonna do it as we go here, off the cuff, as I used to do. What's up, Steven and Sorta? Wow, you guys are really early, and yeah, happy holidays to everybody. I tend to use the inclusive term there, but also Merry Christmas, of course. But anyway, getting back to picks, I think I'm going to have this be audience driven as well, in that I want you guys to tell me what you think your favorite headphones were. They don't have to come out this year, but probably like best in class for each kind of price category is really what I want to focus on here. It can be really any price category, but so once we get a bunch of people going in here, let me know what's your favorite headphones this year that you have or that you've heard, or what do you think is the best value in the price. I'm gonna start out actually by going real budget, kind of like under $100 or something. I remember a time when I thought that was expensive. DT770, someone is already saying. Yeah, no, so the thing about, I want to get this off the on the record real quick. The DT770 80 ohm, like I said before, is not the same as when I heard the old one. I don't know what changed. I don't know if there really was an official change, but all I know is the custom studio kind of sounds more like the older ones, so that's the one I would probably go with. Plus, it has that removable cable. Aeon Flow Open. I need to get my hands on more Mr. Speaker's gear. Not easy to get. It's expensive, and you have to be very close with Dan Clark, it seems like, to get your hands anywhere near his stuff if he's supplying you with the headphones. So, Argon Mark III, that's kind of on my list. But anyway, getting back to my picks, I think let's just start like super budget. I think under $100. What would you guys pick? Now, actually, the funny thing is, I would say M40X is in the running there. And I never reviewed the M40X, even though I hated the M50X. But I think that's a good pick as long as the comfort doesn't bother you. Other picks under $100, I would say probably. Actually, I haven't reviewed it yet. The HD 200 Pro is sitting back there, which is kind of like a 471i, which Tiles reviewed, so you guys might have seen that. KSC 75, I was definitely going to say that as well. Porta Pro, I prefer the Porta Pro because it's darker and warmer, but the KSC 75 is very capable. I actually put one on that Parts Express headband. SHP 9500, yeah, that's a pretty good introduction to open back headphones. I would say that the 9500 probably walks all over the K240 overall, so that's kind of out of the running now. It's too bad. AKG needs to... Anyway... So yeah, with Cow, it's funny. I had one of the headphone community members sent me an M40X with a bunch of pads. I haven't tried it yet, so I'll probably have some impressions of that coming up, as well as I got finally a chance to listen to a Custom One Pro, which I thought was actually not too bad. That's kind of moving up a bit until like under $200. And the immediate thing, let's talk about a little bit more expensive now. I think under $200. By the way, the Q&A stuff will be coming. I want to go over favorite headphones of 2017 good picks right now, and then I'll open it up for all the questions. So throw out there your favorite headphones this year. They don't have to come out this year if you're just joining us here. Under $200 though, I think again still it's funny. I had K550s and then I sold them. And now I have K553 Pros, and I'm not going to sell them. So that should tell you something about how good of a value this headphone is, as long as it fits your head properly. That's really important, because if you don't get a seal with this headphone, there's like no bass. Now, I don't have that problem, probably because my head is massive, but some people have issues with sealing with the pads on these things. HD600 on sale for $190. That is a steal. The only reason why I sold off my HD600 was because the 660S came out, and I had an opportunity to keep it, so I did. RBH HB2. I saw Zeos did something on those. I haven't looked into those yet. Cable removable. Which one? Oh, this one? Oh, no, not on the 553. Actually, it would be the 553 Mark IIIs that the cable is now removable. Can we say which ones are crap? Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. I'm just not a fan of T50RP based headphones. For later, the commenter says that the TX0 are horrible. No, you don't put. Did you watch my 660S review? You do not put custom pads on an HD6X0 headphone. Period. You don't do that, or else it becomes something horrible, something completely different, too different. Yeah, the 660S is very good, but I don't pay $500 for that thing. Please wait for that to come down. That's crazy. While we're on the topic of that Sennheiser, yeah, good point. The 58X Jubilee. So, all right. I had a little back and forth with Jude from Headphone on this, and he seems to think that we both agree that the 660S, wow, that name is annoying to say, is the most resolving. But the 58X Jubilee, despite using the 660S driver, which is based on an HD700 supposedly, is the lowest resolution actually. So we're $150. We're not still getting the exact same experience as even maybe the HD600 and 650 is what it sounds like. I don't have any partnership with Mastrap to get things like that, but if you guys want to send me one, I'll take a listen to it and see if that's really what it is when it comes out. So I guess we'll find out. But I would say buy with caution on that one, because it's definitely not really the same thing as the 600, 650, 660S. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because one of my friends just said, who can afford the Orpheus? I have 20 of them. Yeah, the Orpheus is something I've always wanted to listen to, and I haven't gotten a chance yet. It's very famous, especially the new one, too. Oh my god, it looks so good. Monoprice 8320. There's a Monoprice 8323 Bluetooth now? That's new. That's cool. I remember the old... I used to have a derivative of the 8323 over-ear. And that was very, very good for super cheap. I don't know anything about DAPs, unfortunately. Someone else will have to answer that question. But again, favorite headphones of the year still right now. Can I comment on my differences of opinion with Tile? I'll get into that later. Just remind me after we're done with going through the ranges. HE350, isn't that based on like the HE300? I'm not really too keen on those. I have to look into those a bit more. That's a weird hi-fi, man. Anyway, I think under $200 still. I think things like the HE4XX seems like a decent deal. When I heard the 400i, which is about the same as that one, it seemed like it was too bright for me, but it seemed like it had good resolution, so that's a pretty good deal. Let's move up a little more in price now. Let's go higher. Maybe like under $1,000. I think people are gonna say Aeon Flow probably. Still haven't heard that thing. I actually have an EL8 though, that I haven't talked much about, unless you guys maybe have been following me on Twitter, then you probably saw it. So I do have an EL8 titanium closed here, and this is something I'm kind of trialing at the office for closed back pick at the office. So that's something that I'm looking into recommending more, and hopefully, and this is the second generation because it's a titanium of the driver, so it's pretty good. More on that. Oh, sorry. More on that coming up when I get to that review. Yeah, I saw that Tile said the Aeon Flow open back is not so close to the Harman curve. It's a little bit off, but he said it still sounded really good. But I don't know. There's a lot of I'll put this out there. A lot of people think Tile is a bit shilly when it comes to Mr. Speaker stuff. I don't know if anyone knows for sure about that, but his opinions on Mr. Speakers don't really line up with a lot of other people. Not that the headphones are bad, but that it sounds like it's a little hyped up. ELA titanium is discontinued. Well, finding them used is nice. That's what I went for. I grabbed a pair used on Headphone. Aeon Flow closed. I have not heard those yet still. The good cheap recommendation, Sound Magic HP 150. Again, I haven't heard that one, and that's on my list of things to try. So I think under 1,000, we're looking at things like the EL8. I think the LCD2 Classic. I definitely need that. Focal LX. That's an interesting thing to throw in there. There's so much new stuff coming out. It's unbelievable. I have to say, this year, again, overall, is such a huge surge, and it seems like new models of stuff. It's kind of crazy. Do I think the T1 is worth the price tag? Well, it sounds like it's more detailed than the 800, and not the 800, the 880 and 990. It is, but I just can't deal with the treble on that thing. And I haven't heard the second gen, so maybe they fixed that. LCD2C, Focal Spirit Pro. You mean the Focal Spirit Professional? It's funny. I tried, this Focal Spirit 1 a while back, and those pads were so small. Didn't seem like it was designed for humans. But it's too bad because it has a nice frequency response. So I think Odyssey has been coming up. Someone's saying the driver build issues with LCD2s. Have the 2Cs in particular had build quality issues? I haven't heard about that yet. But anyway, Odysseys in general have gotten way better over time. They've come a really long way. So M40X or Status Audio CB1. Oh, that's a good question. I think I would take the M40X actually. the CB1, I have one back there because I had an opportunity to buy one for a good price, and actually it wasn't even that. It was just on mass drop, so I grabbed it. Using the ad revenue I make from you guys watching the videos, I put it directly into purchasing new stuff to review, of course. But the CB1, it just doesn't sound that refined to me. I would pick the M40X over that, actually, even though it's not that comfortable. So I don't think the M series works for me, but for a lot of people, if you can deal with the comfort, it's pretty good. The Jubilee. I was talking about the 58X Jubilee earlier. What was it? Jude and I had a back and forth on that. And it seems like the 58X is the least resolving, actually, of the 58X 600, 650, and 660S, despite being supposedly based on the 660S. So my recommendation was buy with caution on that one, because $149 is crazy cheap because, it seems like they cut some corners somewhere. Yeah, I know. HD800 with EQ is very good. And now, how about the super, super high price range above $1,000? What would we pick there? And I'm not going to say LCD3 right now because when I reviewed that was pretty lame. I was surprised at how much grain there was in the treble on that thing. LCD4. Who in here has heard LCD4s and like Utopias and stuff? Because I'm hoping that I'll be able to hear that soon. I used HE1000. Yes, that is a good point. That is a good point. I heard a HE1000 V1, and it was so good that I briefly considered selling the HD800 to buy that thing. It was insane. So, what's your favorite Ultra Summit Phi headphone then? How about the 009? Oh, the L700 is up there. I listened to Zeos's L500 and L700. They were okay. It seemed like they were bright leaning for me. I don't know if it was the amp I was plugged into or what. So I think that does a bunch of picks. Sort of like Porter Pro stuff, cheap. Under $200, I would get the K553. Under $100, M40X. I'd say in the mid-Phi price range, probably the 600, 650 right now. Wait for the 660S to come down. And in the mid-upper Phi stuff, I like the EL8, LCD2 2016. The LCD2 Classic hopefully ends up being good. Probably hear that soon. And really expensive. I was a fan of the HE1000 with some EQ. Of course, the HD800 is still a decent headphone. Don't buy the 800S if you're going to use EQ. By the way. And we'll continue from there. All right, so Now I'll open it up to questions. Bombard me. I get bombarded every day with so many comments. It's so hard to respond to them all. So that's kind of why I do these Q&As, so you guys have an opportunity to ask all your questions here. IEM recommendations. I don't do IEMs at the moment, and the problem with reviewing them is I don't have a good idea of value for money right now, because it's probably a little bit different than full size. But at some point I'll probably get into that stuff. MDR Z7. The thing about the Z7 that I don't like very much is that it's so rolled off and dull at the top. It's a fun headphone to listen to, but it's just weird, like lumpy looking frequency response. So, is the HD800 better than Stax L? Oh man, I would have to have the Stax L series right next to me in order to really tell you for sure if the HD800 was better. That's a tough one. Stax are very resolving. That is the major thing I noticed. I just don't know if their frequency response matches with my ears as well as other headphones. HD599. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying that. I think that's a bit expensive. I hope I clarified in the review that really you should be getting the 598, 558 until that's discontinued, but they're pretty good. Have I tried the Aeon yet? No, still have not. Do I have a wife? That's a good question. No. I'm just a programmer. That's not an excuse, but you know how it is. Is the KSC 75 not as good as a Porta Pro? It's not about that. It's really, they're like apples and oranges. It's the same driver, but I think the KSC 75 is a titanium coated or something like that. So it's quite a bit brighter. Oh yeah, by the way, if you hear some HVAC noise, sorry. This is live stuff, so I'm not going to freeze myself. It's cold over here in New Jersey right now. Anyway, KSC 75 is brighter than the Porta Pro. That's really the main difference there. I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. It just depends on what you prefer. I like the Porta Pro a little better, but it is a little too dark even for me. LCDX versus HD800. You know, the one time I heard a good LCDX, because there are some really bad ones out there that I've heard too. I think I'd prefer the resolution and the frequency response, but I don't know about the soundstage. When am I going to review the M40X? I was just talking about that earlier. I actually have one, but maybe I should. If there's enough interest here that materializes during the Q&A, I guess I'll push that forward. I was going to do the EL8 next. Asgard for HD800. People say the Asgard is kind of warm, so I would agree with that, but I don't know for sure. I'm not the Amp DAC guy. You guys know that. Have I tried any other Air Series headphones from ATH? You mean the open back ones? I sold my AD900X recently because that doesn't agree at all with my ears in terms of frequency response, but it's not a bad headphone for like 100 or 150 bucks. It's just kind of like a K701 from Japan. K7, somebody bought the K712, subs and soda. Hey, I like that combination. That's good. And don't say hoagie. At first, I wasn't really impressed, but compared to the 598, that's a good point. I think that a lot of things people buy and they're like, wow, I hate this. It doesn't have the bass that Beats has. But you need to listen to that new thing for like a week straight and then go back, and then you might have your realization. Because that happens a lot. That's not that unusual. Open backs under 200 that do all genres of music well. Wow. That's a good question. I don't really know. I tend to think of open backs as above 200 bucks a lot of the time. You could probably get an HD 580 used. I don't know about new, but HD 580 used or HD 600 used under 200. That'll do it. Yeah, the 599 and it's come down to 149. Oh wow, perfect. Yeah, you made the right decision on that one. I can't believe the 599 is already dropping to 598 prices. That's good. That's fantastic. 2-amp and HD800 is heaven. Yeah, something I need to try. Actually, I did once, but it was, what was it, the Felix Audio Euphoria or whatever? Yeah, that's a pretty sweet amp. Seriously. Thoughts on the HD1 wireless? Man, I hope it's not based on the Momentum's drivers, because that's what it looks like it is. And if so, then nobody should be paying $500 for that thing, because those drivers are really not that good. Let's see. You're coming from cheap Chinese headphones. Yeah, of course. Okay, that's good. Glad that you made the upgrade. Good audio is essential if you listen to headphones a lot. Am I getting a Notor? Yeah, I'm probably going to pick that up at NYC Can Jam. While you guys are all here, I'll be going to NYC Can Jam. If you actually want to hang out there and meet me, I'll be around on the Saturday of that, happening in New York. 598 are going for 130 now. The 598 SR is just a what is it? It's like the 598 SE color scheme, but with a mic, I think it is. What amp and DAC do I use? I recently changed, maybe not that recently, but what was it? The Modi Multibit and the Magni 3 is what I'm using at the moment. Someone who has a 580, you think the HD800 would be a good upgrade path? It's going to sound way different. I would watch my part 2 and owner's perspective of the HD800 and give you a good idea of what to expect there, because it's a totally different animal. It's very bright by comparison. How do argons stack up to most mainstream mid-fi cans? I haven't heard the Mark III. That's the thing. And the Mark III is really what I want to judge the argon by now, because I actually had a little bit of a hand in looking at some of the measurements with the designer of that thing, and hopefully they came off better. But I haven't gotten a chance to hear them yet. Recommendations on closebacks under $200 besides M40X. Oh, the K553s. Yeah, that's always my closeback recommendation go-to. But make sure you can return them, because, as I said earlier, the seal of the pads don't work for everybody for some reason. So if you put them on, they have no bass. They just don't. They may not fit your head properly. Focal, Lear, and Clear. Haven't tried those yet. You're looking for an Lear or an Aeon Open? I don't have an answer for that. Sorry. ESP 950. I really want an electrostat. Definitely want to try that. M40X's stock pads is useless. I wouldn't call it useless. I think it sounds fantastic for the price, but comfort is annoying. What do I use for portable audio? I don't have a portable setup. I just have a work setup and a home setup, actually. Reviewing using the Icon Atticus. Did I have issues with pad seal? No. I don't tend to have issues with pad seal, though, with glasses, despite being full-time glasses wearer. I don't know, maybe my glass is just not that thick of a rim for it to be a problem. M40X, M50X, which one would I pick? Definitely the M40X every single time. What do I think of the new 58X? I went over that a little earlier. Supposedly it's the least resolving of the new 6XO line. Would I use a DAC amp combo like an Owen? I have no idea what the S6 sounds like, so I couldn't tell you. Are DT880 solid as studio headphones? You gotta be careful with them. I feel like some people are gonna mix things a bit dark because of their energetic treble, but the mid-range is very, very nice. And you're missing a little bit of bass extension as well. I guess you could probably mix on most things if you get used to them. That tends to be what I hear from a lot of audio engineers, but it's not a bad headphone for that. Blah, 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 blah. What else we got here? What do I think of the 1060? Not a fan. I already reviewed that thing. NFB11 versus Jotunheim. Apparently the Jotunheim's a bit bright, but again, I haven't heard it personally, so I can't comment for that. But I did like the NFB11. I had one briefly, but it was a little defective, so I had to send it back. And then I just didn't want to deal with that anymore. HE4XX for under $200. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. That's a good headphone. Why? Oh, this is a good one. Okay. Why is the frequency response 5 Hz to 28 kHz for the Focal clear, and it's highly regarded, yet cheaper stuff go to 40 kHz? It's not about that. Frequency response is one of the biggest problems with the specs that the manufacturer gives you, because that range tells you absolutely nothing. And that's the key takeaway, because when they say it goes from this frequency to this frequency, you get no information about what's happening to the frequency response in between those points. And then on top of that, to make things even worse, those points of 5 Hz and 28 kHz, for example, what's the dB point of that? Is it 3 dB down from the rest of the bass? Is it 10 dB down? Is it 30? They don't tell you anything. So that's really important to understand. Never, ever read the specs on frequency response for headphones. They mean nothing. You have to learn how to read graphs. That's why people hate headphones that supposedly go to 40 kilohertz. Nobody can hear that high anyway, by the way. um, what would I say is the right time to upgrade from mid-fi like the X00 and 650 to the really expensive stuff? The right time? Honestly, what I tell most people who are getting into this hobby, just buy a 650, buy a stack, and stop. And don't ever look at headphones ever again. I would say the real time to upgrade from mid-fi is don't ever listen to hi-fi stuff if you can avoid it, because it'll save your wallet so much pain. So really, when to upgrade is up to you. But I would save my money if I had to do this all over again. Best sub $200 Bluetooth headphone. I don't know if I like anything under $200 for Bluetooth. The Sony, I had a chance to audition, was it the MDR 1000X and the QC35 recently. Those are pretty expensive. They're pushing around $350, and they were okay. But under $200, I don't know. Is there a noticeable difference between balanced and unbalanced output? Yeah, the biggest difference is the amount of volume you can get out of the headphone. But as far as like the rest of the stuff that goes along with that balanced meme, I'm not going to comment on that. Because first of all, I don't even have first-hand experience with comparing those two. T1 versus HD800. That's a great question. I still think the T1 is too bright, and it's too bright in a painful region. Even more so than the HD800. At least the unit that I bought and sold quickly was like that. I don't know what they've done with the second generation, but as far as I can tell, Biodynamics Tesla drivers have been a flop. And that's why I said that the Amaron Home and the DT1770 were very disappointing. But amazingly, the 1990 was actually okay. And cue the thousands of compare DT1990 to X. That's probably going to be the next thing coming up. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, bragging rights. Going back to the frequency response thing I was talking about. It's just bragging rights for those frequency response ranges. Bought a 598 SE for $96 on Black Friday. That's how it goes. That's how you should do it. Under $100. DD Audio DXB04. Never heard of that. I'm going to have to look that one up myself. M560. Don't have enough experience with the M560. But I don't really like the 598 CS that much. A lot of people are commenting on my group review that I mentioned the 598 CS in, and they're like, I bought it and it's great, and I bought it and it's great. I'm really hoping they watched the review and saw that I didn't think it was that good, and I would pick this, the K553, over it most of the time. How is the 712 compared to the 7XX? Way better. Way better. Yeah, that's right. You heard correctly. The bass distortion is horrible. It is completely gone on the 712. It is a very different headphone than the 7XX. You've been looking for headphones that take to college, noise canceling, closed back, $200, very comfortable. Yeah, I don't have anything for you there because I haven't done a lot of noise cancelers. Let's see if somebody else recommends. Really dislike the M560. I'm not surprised. Honestly, I haven't found anything from Monoprice that I liked. Higher end stuff yet. They seem to be getting like rebrands from other reverse engineer factories or something going on. Except I thought the 8323 was actually pretty good because that's so cheap. But when they start charging like $299 for the 1060, come on. Got the 1060, was naive enough to get the Odyssey Beacons thinking it would fix the ringing. Yeah, there's been a lot of people who talked about, just slap the Beacons on it and it's good. No. And in fact, there's a bunch of, I think, what was it? Ishka wrote an article on Verum Sonus about the 1060 trying lots and lots and lots of mods, all of them failing to fix the main issue with that thing. So my brother gave me HD800s in exchange for some electrical work I did. Wow, that's a great brother there. The treble is piercing even on tubes. Yep, I know. Would you recommend trading them for TH900 plus money? Nope. TH900 is crazy bright also. Don't do it. If that's really annoying, I would get, and you want a biodynamic, get an X00. That is a better value. What's the headphone with the best clarity you've ever heard? That's a great question. I have to say it was probably the Stax SR009. it probably didn't hurt it that this thing was plugged into the Blue Hawaii SE, which, is $6,000. Um, but combining that with the 009 was so smooth. Fastest transients, clearest, like I can't come up with enough superlatives. I actually totally agree with Tyle's really old review on the 009s when he compared them. So crazy. So that's why I kind of want to listen to more Electrostats now. Mark III Argon should be a significant improvement. I have no idea. Got to listen to it first. I'm not going to make things up. It's the best headphone for ego shooter gaming, like FPS. You have to clarify that one. I'll come back to it. 599 or 598. They're both very good. 599 has more bass extension. I already talked about that in my review. I really like the 599. How is it different? I literally just said that. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the comments here. It's difficult. Or the live chat. How's the soundstage and sound isolation? Isolation is very good. I used to use them in my office, as my full-time office headphone. And I never had a problem with leakage or isolation. Soundstage is okay. It's not bad. It's better than an M50X, but it's not like really wide or anything. But it's better than average for a closed back, I'll tell you that. And for under $200, more like 130, I think nowadays. It's great. 598 is good for gaming, definitely. 712, yeah, definitely also. What is the closed back HD 600 equivalent? This comes up a lot. I've been searching for a long time for the answer to that question myself, and probably the closest I've come, interestingly enough, is the K553. It's quite similar in that, although the mid treble's a bit brighter, I think, but the sub bass is all filled in, and the upper mids are slightly forward as well, just like the 600. So pretty good. Yeah, the Yoshi Horikawa tracks for the HD800. I know. How good is that? Absolutely ridiculous. That song Bubbles. I don't even know. I don't care what that genre is. It's good, and it sounds really amazing on HD800s. You have the HD800S, and you love them, but you do miss bass sometimes. How about the Z1R? You mean? I've seen so many conflicting reviews, and the people who have heard it have not been a fan. But I can't tell you because I have not heard that yet. Closed pair of planar magnetic with decent bass. Yeah, I was talking about the EL8 earlier. I kind of like this thing, especially if you buy it used for like under 400 or so. That's bass. It's funny. The other day. I think I tweeted about this. I just for the hell of it, I put a plus 10 dB bass boost on the EL8 and just blasted EDM on it, and it was like, okay, we'll deliver that. It was unbelievable. So if you want bass quality, yeah, the EL8 is one way to do it for a closed planar. Let's see. LCD-XC. Nah, that's too expensive. You don't need to pay that much in order to get a closed planar, hence EL8. But make sure you get the titanium or you get a 2016 version if it's wood. All right. SRH 940. Be careful with that. I've heard it just snaps. That's kind of why I am not so sure about recommending that Shure. That's awesome though. Like new in box, $75. Wow, I'm pretty sure that thing used to be like 300. Let's see. What's my opinion on the Harman curve? Take a look at my neutrality video. That should explain it. But this is a good question. Do you agree, or do I feel a curve should be different depending on genre of music you listen to? That's a great question. That is something that I've kind of discovered over time, that people's preferences are hugely impacted by what music they listen to. So really, even though the Harman curve is sort of a guide, I feel like the Harman curve works better with modern music, which tends to be mastered too brightly. Anybody who's a fan of classical or properly recorded, like, I don't know, maybe Chesky record stuff, and the jazz that Tile loves to listen to, is probably not going to like the Harman curve. It's going to be too dark. So it's really it's a total preference thing. That's the thing. Do I have an experience with V-Moda? Yeah, I think the M100 is pretty cool. but I need to do a full review on it. I don't actually own one, but I liked it. I liked exactly what I heard when I heard it, despite the colorations. It even had a decent soundstage. I think I heard it at, what was it, Guitar Center or something? Yeah. Thoughts on the HE560? Have not heard that yet. HE500 is awesome, though. LCD4 is the most detailed in the treble region. Well, apparently Tile also thinks that they're missing that 6K region a bit too much. Excuse me. In that like 6 to 8K, they're sort of missing something there. But I feel like I hate that region, and any headphone that has a dip there on Tile's graphs, I tend to like. I don't know if anyone else has picked up on that, but that tends to be the case for me. Open back under 600 best. I hate that word. I need to make a new video talking about why the best headphone is a stupid thing to ask about. Because I think actually Zeos made a video on that too, which I totally agreed with. But if you're asking me, best open back under 600 for everything, I'm gonna have to go with the 660S on that one right now. But that's only because I haven't really heard. Was it the Aeon Flow Open? So if used is an option, then that might be good too. But I haven't tried it. Let's see. Find I'm quite sensitive to sibilance with brighter headphones. Does it make any sense to EQ at 8 to 9 kilohertz peaks on some of my cans? Exactly why I do it. So I would try it. And I have that video on Peace GUI and Equalizer APO that you can take a look at, so you can do exactly that. K553 Pro or H6. Oh, that's a good one. They are so different, it's not even funny. I think I talked about this in the H6 review. At least I hope I did, because the K553 used to be my closed back at the office, but the H6 is so different. Like the K553 is great for music production. It's accurate. It's a bit clinical, but it's just warm enough and not too bright for me to enjoy it. But the H6 is a whole different animal. It's got this like roller coaster ride with this huge sub bass that distorts easily if you crank the volume, and then this dip at 200 hertz that's huge, and then the upper mids don't go up enough, and then there's another cut, and then there's another mid treble peak. It's just like all over the place, but I like them. I don't know why. It seems to fit the genres I listen to well, but they're so different. So that's something to keep in mind there. Traded my X00 Mahogany for a Sony Z7. You missed the slam. Will the Atticus scratch the itch? Good question. The Atticus I listened to and reviewed did not have enough slam. Simple. I don't know if it was the wood or what, but the Cherry version I reviewed just did not have the kind of bass dynamics I'm looking for something that expensive. It's too bad though, because wow, the mids and the treble and the soundstage were absolutely awesome. And that's what you're spending the money on. But something's up with the bass on that thing. I would probably go back to an X00 Mahogany, honestly. Or if you want even better, get the Ebony. Look for the Ebony, or look for the, the Emotique also. Status Audio CB1. Best headphones under $100. Respectfully disagree. M40X. That's my response. But not bad, but they just don't have the kind of resolution. I think under 60 or 70 bucks, the CB1 are okay. How many headphones are in my collection at any point? Oh god, don't ask me that question. That's too many. I have a whole drawer full of like random IEMs, and I have, what is this? The Monks hanging around, and the KSC75 and the Porter Pro and all this stuff. I mean, I have such a long list, it's ridiculous. But I have sold a bunch of stuff recently, so I'm trying to make room. I don't know for what yet, but I'm trying to make room. But I'd say maybe something like 8 to 10 headphones, probably full size, are hanging around. Why did I start making reviews, and any advice for someone who's interested? That's a great question. I think I had that in one of the other Q&As. The main reason why I started making reviews is I was a budding audiophile myself at the time I started, and of course my first review on DT80 Pro is horrible and has nothing to do with the frequency response I prefer nowadays. And of course, everyone's going to go back and watch that now, but oh well. But the reason why I started doing reviews is because I felt like nobody was describing the sound in detail. And there was just nothing. I needed frequencies. I need to know if they're harsh, if they're bright, what frequency response they target they're conforming to most. Compare them to other headphones. Talk about the damn soundstage for once. I'm just tired of watching videos that are like, oh yeah, the sound quality is good. I don't care, man. I want to know what the details are. So that was really the driving thing behind me starting up these reviews. And as far as advice for someone who's who's interested in starting reviewing, I think the most important thing is develop your own style. Don't try to copy somebody else. You might be inclined to do that at first, but you have to develop your own style and see what your audience enjoys. So there's your answer to that one. Annex DXB04 is best under 100. Oh man, I'm really gonna have to look at that now. The creative Arvana Live would like a word with you. Yes. Oh wow, how did I forget that headphone? By the way, I actually just snagged one of those because it was like $44 on Amazon, and I was like, this is good. The most disappointing headphone you've heard. Oh man. Ooh, that's a good one. I think the headphone I like actually that's very easy. Grado SR80E and Ducks, because I get so much hate on that review, but I'm never gonna revise it because I don't like Grados. They are incredibly underperforming, especially if you start moving up the price ranks on them. Just such a waste of money, in my opinion. Blah, 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 blah. Oh boy, here comes the spammer with the HD600 best neutral full-size headphones. Yep, we know about you. What else we got here? Have you heard the HD700? I did briefly. It's ridiculously bright, has a huge 7K peak. Don't buy it. Them repurposing the drivers for the HD600 chassis was a much better idea. Hi-Fi Man is trolling with the Shangri-La Junior. Oh man, yeah, that's funny. I can't believe they have a Junior now. I can't even deal with that. Because the Shangri-La is what, that's like a $50,000 competitor to the Orpheus that Hi-Fi Man has. And I'm just like, why? Come on. And apparently it's not even that great from some people who have heard it. It's like really bright and annoying. But I don't know. I haven't heard it myself. The Susfar is also $6,000. That company is pushing prices too high. I just can't deal with it anymore. It's too bad because it's too bad because they don't have to be that expensive, but they are very good. Let's see. Yes, I hate videos that have best blah 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 on the title. There's no best. That is correct. That is the correct answer. C# or Java. Definitely Java, because screw Microsoft. Although I don't really write a lot of OO code, only C++ and C. Sorry, I'm probably going to alienate everybody by talking about code right now. But, yeah, I would take Java. What else we got here? How do I stop buying headphones? You have to literally leave the internet and like all communities that you're involved with and get out of Discord and all that good stuff if you really want to stop buying headphones. I feel like that's just way too tempting if you don't do that. 712 I described as fairly neutral, right? No, actually it's quite colored. I always thought of the K7, the X7XX series, talking about Q701, K701, K702. Just stop releasing all these names, AKG. But anyway, I always thought of those as flavor cans because they have that 2K peak in the mids that just throws off the timbre. But I like them. They're not super far from neutral, but they're pretty colored in my opinion. An edition that's more colored in either direction. Let's see. I think if you want something warm and powerful, has a lot of slam, I would add the X00, and that's very, very different than the 712. Do I have a personal favorite for metal? Ooh, great question. I used to love the A900X. Wow, that thing was so good for metal because the mids were never too forward, so you get that the warmth of the guitars. It's just so good. The X00 was also absolutely awesome for metal. I love listening to metal on the LCD2s. The EL8s are very, very good as well. The Atticus was killer for metal. So there's a bunch of different headphones, actually. Oh, the Yincrow hype train. Am I gonna hop on that? Oh, the what is that? The X. What is that thing called? The X6 or whatever. Yeah, I probably should buy that because it's just so cheap, and I need to know if it's better than the Monk. uh, let's see, warm amp deck combo for 500 to 1,000. I am not the amp and deck guy. I'll have to let someone else answer that. Hi-Fi Man is the Apple of headphones now. Yes, I've thought of that before. Good call. Do I listen to crappily recorded black metal with my HD800? I do listen to some really badly recorded music with the HD800, actually. And wow, does it sound incredibly accurate to how bad it's recorded. And I think that's one of the greatest things about the HD800. I'm not really a black metal guy. I like more thrash, some death, hardcore. That's really my bread and butter stuff. How does the R70X compare to the 599? You know what? Honestly, I think the R70X is probably lower resolution. That thing is Grain City. It's unfortunate because it's got a nice frequency response, but it's just not detailed. Do I like the MSR7? I have heard the MSR7. Demoed them. I almost decided to review them, but they just struck me as so bland and slightly bright that it was just like, these are okay. And they were real expensive, like $399 or something, I think, back at the time. So I was like, I don't really feel like doing a bashing review. Not that they're bad, but I just didn't feel like they were doing anything particularly amazing. SR80s have no bass response. That is correct. Apparently everyone seems to love Grados, though. There's a huge community behind them. And I'm not going to deny that if you modify Grados, they can be pretty cool. But that's another topic entirely. Would I recommend open or closed EL8s? I've heard both. I thought the open back sounded way better than people tell me it does, but that was only a brief listen. I've had the closed EL8 for a little while now. This is the titanium, and I really like it, although it's got a bit of a sheen to it and above 8K that I have to remove. And of course, since the bass is just a little bit elevated, I elevated a bit more, and it is awesome with that. The soundstage is a little lacking, though. Probably the open back is better at that. I have not heard the open back EL8 in detail yet. Looking for the next step up from a 598. Tried the 650, but you like the 598 more. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I think you should try the 600 then instead, or the 660S once it comes down in price, because the 650 is not really the same sound. It's a much darker version. And if you like the energeticness of the 598, then you probably should be looking at 580, 600, and 660S instead. But it might still be a little dark, because it is a little smoother and more liquid sounding, a little higher resolution along with all that. But the 650 is probably going to be real boring, so that makes sense. Opinion of USB-C to 3.5mm dongles. Oh boy, don't get me started on that, because I've already gotten flack from people on Discord for buying the Pixel 2. The 2XL actually is the phone I'm rocking right now with the Distronic case on it in this case. And yeah, the dongle. So the thing about dongles is they don't annoy me because I don't really use my phone to listen to music anyway. So in my case, it's not that bad. But of course, I think it's stupid. Why are they removing all these headphone jacks? And of course, since Apple did it, now everyone else is gonna go follow. Blows my mind. Let's see. Whoa, this chat is huge. Blah, 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 blah. Burn-in time a thing. I don't really believe in burn-in, honestly. I think that maybe in the first few hours things might change, but that's about it. That's been my experience. The icon burned in the most, I think, of any headphone I've heard. That might be a real thing. But other than that, I've never really heard a headphone change significantly over time. It's more likely that your brain gets used to it, or the pads break in, especially in the case of like the 6XX, for example. All right. Headphi's headphones for sale thread makes me want to throw away money. Yeah, I try not to go on there too often because the last time I did, this is what happens. Yeah, I feel that feel, bruh. Let's see. Blah blah blah. Have I used HD25s? Yes, but I thought the treble was so like low resolution that why should I even bother? Not a big fan. Is there a place in Jersey where to go to demo audio gear? Yes, my townhouse. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. I went to this place in Cherry Hill. What was it called? Wow. I think it was just Hi-Fi Sales. They had a couple of things there. Last time I went, they had an LCDX, some Grado that I laughed at, but it was really expensive, and the HD800. And they had like a Burson headphone amp there too, which was pretty cool. Guitar Center in Cherry Hill also has a bunch of headphones on display. They're not really high end, but they do have things that you need to hear in this hobby, like the M40X, the M50X, and the M100. Those were good. They had a DT990 Pro, a DT770 80 ohm. So check that out. Other Guitar Centers probably have a similar setup now. But before they had everything in boxes, but now there's like a whole setup where you can demo. It's pretty cool. Sam Ash has something similar too, I think. All right. Hi everyone. Hi Theory Guy. +1 on the X00s for metal. Yeah, the Ebonies. Oh man. Oh, so good. So good. It's the one I reviewed too. Most immersive, enthralling headphones. Wow, we're really getting colorful now with our adjectives here. Immersive. I guess if you define it as, what is it, like you get lost in the music or something, I have to say the X00 was just the most fun I've had, I think, with headphones in a long time. Other than the Atticus. Wow, those mids, so good. So those two are probably what I would pick there. Thinking of selling it and replacing it with a 599. I don't even remember where that came from. Sorry. Wow, I lost my place again. The chat in YouTube, man. I'm telling you. Let's see. X00 is around $450. Yeah, actually the Ebony is like $499. So it's really expensive. I would look for somebody who's bought them used already on Headfi or something like that. If you're going to buy an X00, when am I going to review DAPs? Probably won't, because I don't do a lot of mobile listening, so I don't get a chance to really do that or use something like that. That's why I haven't really looked at them very much. Sennheiser comes up with a closed version of the 6XX or HD100C. I've been saying this for so long. They really need something like that. And while they're at it, can we have an HD800 that sounds like a 660S but with more bass extension? Thanks. M1060 versus 650. Not even a contest. It's the 650. Get the 580 Jubilee right now. Be careful, like I was saying earlier with that. I think that, well, at least Jude seems to think that it's the lowest resolution of the new 4 headphones that are out right now from Sennheiser in that range. Wow, I lost my place again. Wow, this chat is massive. Let's see. OnePlus 5T finally looks pretty now. Yeah, I like the OnePlus phones because of their specs, but I want the fast updates from Google. Electrostatic headphones have fast response. I don't get it. Well, yeah, they're electrostats. And actually, I need to look up how that works. I know how planars work, I know how dynamic drivers work, but electrostats still elude me at the moment, which is ridiculous because I studied engineering and computer engineering, which is a lot of electrical, so I really should figure that out. They removed the audio jack so they can sell their crappy proprietary wireless IEMs. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Galaxy S9 is keeping the headphone jack. Man, can I just say that Samsung's S8 was really hitting it out of the park? Finally, they have the specs and the speed to keep up with their relatively heavy UI, which had been growing for a while, but they've been cutting it back. So they've done a good job with that. Note 8 also. Awesome. Please keep the stream to watch it. You got it. I always have the stream set to auto upload, so you can watch that tomorrow. Just made the plunge on a set of DT1990. Going to use them to mix as the amp on an ID14. I don't even know what that is, but they're a little easier to drive than their impedance would have you believe. But I would have a dedicated headphone amp if possible. All right, let's see. Have I heard the M560? No, I actually have not. For $149, yeah, it's possible that it's a good buy. All right, let's see. I finally caught up with the chat. When I was buying the HD800, I told my coworker about it. He told me to stop wasting money, buy a Beat Solo 3. You don't know how many people I've dealt with that are like, exactly like that at work. You're like, huh, what? Actually, I've corrupted a lot of people where I work. It's really funny. I've ended up selling some of my headphones off to them. It's pretty good. What do I do beside reviewing headphones? I am a full-time software engineer. That's a fancy title for programming. I write software for an aviation company. I go out to bars on the weekends. I still play guitar. I actually recently got back into it since I bought a Mesa Boogie tube amp, and it has been blowing my mind for how good it sounds. And I'm a car enthusiast as well. I don't have some crazy modded car, but I love cars and I love driving. So that's a lot of other things besides reviewing headphones. I think I have like a list of the main things that I like to do on my Twitter, on my summary or something like that. Alright, let's see. Bought the THX00 Ebony and thought I nailed it. Thank you. Yeah, those are great headphones. I always love those. You're near NYC. Ah, yeah. Yeah, the B&H in NYC is supposed to have like an awesome selection. I still haven't been there yet. Maybe I'll go soon though. Thoughts on the LCD2C Classic? Have not heard that yet. On a scale of 1 to 100, how much is due to shill? I love that question. A lot of people are really saying that Jude's a shill, and in his position, it doesn't surprise me if he loves a lot of, like, any manufacturer that partners with the site, he's probably going to say a nice thing about. But he was fairly honest when I was talking with him recently about the 58X with mass drop. So I guess it depends on the product. At least he's not unbox therapy. Cue all the jokes for that one. Samsung's UI is so heavily customized, it doesn't feel like Android. I agree with that. That's why I stick with the Pixel for now. What's my opinion of Dolby Atmos? Great question. I'm trying to build a home theater right now. I just recently got a Vizio 4K HDR TV and added some speakers, so I have a full 5.1 system. But I'm finding that now I gotta upgrade my receiver to get Atmos, and it's crazy. But I think it's cool that there's a lot of DSP. That's like the next thing. And Tyler's talked about this a bit in some of his videos as well. That DSP is really the new up and coming thing. Like, you can make a I think a good example is the those in-ears by Odyssey. What in the world? Am I getting old or something? iSign, yeah, the iSigns. They have this in the cipher cable. They have EQ, but the thing is, they're designed to sound basically horrible, frequency response wise, until you use the cipher cable. They're designed to be, regardless of frequency response, very, very low THD, so that they can EQ it to sound right. And that's really cool, and I feel like you're going to see more drivers like that in the future. Of course, that screws everybody who doesn't buy the cipher cable, but that's none of my business. So things like Dolby Atmos as well, about localization and then virtual surround and whatever, yeah, it's only going to pick up from here. It's not going to go away. Let's see, what's my go-to amp DAC setup? I still have the Modi Multibit and Magni 3. Can I play slide blues? I don't actually have a slide for playing, but I don't see why not. I like to play just about everything, but of course, as my name would indicate, I don't always, but most of the time, I'm a metal guitarist. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. ID14 is a USB audio interface. If they say they drive up to 600 ohm, they'll probably be okay, because for 250 ohms, like I said, it's not super hard to drive the 1990, so you should be all right. I wouldn't normally say that. Actually, like, the Q701 has a low impedance, but it's nothing like that. And it's very insensitive, though, so that's something to note. Let's see. I recommend the X00 for a more colorful option. I don't know if it's more colorful. It's just very different. It's very warm. Anything to lower price range, maybe a bit higher because of the exchange rate. Yeah. Okay. I mean, you could just get, if you want something that's well, actually, you want more colored, right? Wow, that's tough. I have to think about that. I may get back to you on that if I can find something in my head to recommend for that. What do I think about the QC35? I thought it sounded pretty good, but you're not paying for the sound quality as much as you're paying for the noise cancellation. Maybe 10 minutes from B&H. You'd rather walk to the Audio 46. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I haven't been to either of those places. Jack stands for Just a Camera Kids. Oh, Somehow I didn't know that, but that's great. Blah 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 blah. Oh, how did I get the AD series so cheap? Really? That's ridiculous. I had no idea it was so expensive in Europe and Japan itself. Really? I thought they were always cheaper over there. That's wild. The new G70 looks fantastic. Yeah, I agree. The Genesis, that G70 could be a big hit if they properly compete against the 3. That's the big question. Can it keep up with the BMW 3? And the Stinger GT, that's so cool. I think I'm not a big fan of the way the Stinger looks, but it really is stealing the show. There's so much. I watch Savage Geese. I love that guy. He does very honest reviews. So it's good stuff. Let's see. Do I have experience with sound bars? Sound bars or sound cards? Creative Blaster X Katana. That's a sound bar? I don't know. I don't really do sound bars. I do dedicated speakers. So I don't really know. Quality headphones for gaming with wide sound stage. I get that question a lot. I think the T880 is one of the big ones. I recommend the T1's actually very good at localizing. HD800, anything with a big sound stage basically. K712, another option. How do I EQ 650? I'd bring up the air region above 10 kilohertz, probably by like 3 or 4 dB because it's so dark up there. And I would fill in the sub bass and reduce the upper mids by maybe like 1 dB or 2 dB, something like that, depending on the pad condition. That's how I would EQ it. HD100 really is a dream for gaming. I agree. Is a T50RP stock better than M1060? The T50RP stock has other issues, like, not extending the bass. Let's see. What's my name? Oh, I thought, let's see, what was it? I think I revealed that once. In my, I did something about a little bit about me or whatever. But anyway, I probably should at some point change the channel to my name. My name is Jason. That is my name. Not awkward at all, by the way. Maybe a hard to answer question. How much will an E10K increase the sound quality of my 599s? It depends on how bad your source is right now, basically. If it's a laptop, then it actually might be pretty noticeable. Opinions on the ESP 2018 lineup. Haven't looked at it yet. I have an LTD MH400NT, if you guys have been following me for that long. I still have it. And I need to look at the new 2018 stuff. But basically anything, I like stuff with fixed bridges, EMG 81s in the bridge. And it should be neck through. I think mine is like something like semi neck through. It's some weird thing. But it's pretty cool. I don't know about Floyd's. I'm not really a lead guitarist, but that's the kind of guitars I like. I can tell you that. I don't recommend walking from Philly to Audio 46. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Let's see. Yeah, more different. Yeah, I know what you mean about asking about what would be more different than the 712, but I just can't think of anything else from the X00 right now. What do I make of the 660S impedance drivability not being much different from the 300 ohm older 600 series? Strangely, I thought that the sound quality would go down because the impedance was lower, and it's not what people are asking for in that price range. What they're asking for is a faster driver with more detail, and strangely, apparently, we get it anyway with the 660S, despite having a lower impedance. So, okay. But nobody was asking for an easier to drive 600. I don't know where Sennheiser was getting that information from. That's for sure. For gaming, you recommend the 598, 599. Yeah, so would I. What's the worst car in terms of looks and styling? Oh man, that's a great question. The new Prius, I think, looks hideous, but I had to give my all-time. I think it's a tie between the. What is it? What is that? What is that Nissan? Wow, this stupid box car. I don't know. I don't like really boxy cars, but there are some nice looking boxy cars, but some really bad, weird designs. I think the Pontiac Aztek looks cool now, so I don't hate that. I cannot. Oh, the Nissan Cube. Wow, horrible. I think the Hyundai Veloster was also really dumb looking, in my opinion. So that's some examples. Can I play guitar in YouTube? Well. It's 10 o'clock right now. My neighbors would not be happy about cranking up a Mesa Boogie in this room. Otherwise, I could probably do that. I do have a lot of old covers if you go way back in my YouTube channel. Is it possible to get audiophile sound quality from wireless headphones? I would say you could do that. But a lot of the times you get noise cancellation along with it, so it doesn't work out quite as well as it should. But I haven't seen any like dedicated and no one's really made a Bluetooth headphone that's like open back and that I know of. Like that's like HD 800 tier, because you just don't need to. People want analog at that point, I guess. But you can get decent sound from Bluetooth though, especially with the newer codecs, I believe. Is the HE1000 the best headphone I've ever heard? No, that's still the 009. Like I was saying earlier, that $11,000 setup, combining the price of the amp, the Blue Hawaii SE with the headphone, it was good. I don't need to say much more about that. How's the DT770 better than 558? Very different. 770's got a lot of bass. 558's a little brighter and harsh. Well, it's not brighter, but it's a lot more mid-forward. 770 is very different, so it depends on what you're looking for. Oh wow, I lost my place again. All right, what festival would I attend if budget and money were not a concern? Like what kind of festival though? I'd have to say Climax probably. But that's because I'm a hardstyle kid. Let's see. Do the Odyssey Micro Suede vegan pads feel like couch cushions? I'm sorry, that's hilarious. I don't know. I haven't tried those. The only ones I have that are like micro suede, these are some ZMF pads. These should be available by now. Options, and I guess you could call it couch cushions, but it's a lot softer than some couch cushions that I've felt. I don't really go around feeling couch cushions often, however. Yeah, Nissan putting CVTs in every car. Well, I think the funniest thing is the Maxima. You know, you get the 3.5, and then you put a CVT in there. What are you doing? I'm sorry, you don't put a CVT in there with a 6-cylinder. That's so weird. What do you think about the trend of headphones going lower and lower impedance for a wider range of devices? Yeah, not a fan. But that's because I'm an audiophile. But the average person needs an easy-to-drive headphone or Bluetooth. And it's unfortunate that a lot of companies are targeting that. But like I was saying earlier, there's a lot of high-end headphones that are coming out this year that I was happy about to see so much competition. So, have you had experience with the 840? Only briefly. It seemed like it was a little brighter and had more upper bass bloom, I think, than the 440. Always wanted to review that. Never got around to that. Never owned one. Who's the sexier headphone reviewer after Zeos? Really? Am I gonna have to decide on this? I'm gonna go with DMS on this one. Oh my god, if he sees that, I am gonna laugh so hard. Alright, anyway. Personally didn't like the DT770. The clamp felt like my head was in a vice. Yeah. They are pretty clampy because they're a pro model. So, that is the way it is with those. Do I wear cologne? Good question. I just use deodorant now. I used to be really into that stupid Axe stuff back when I was in high school or whatever, but isn't that like a whole channel on Discord that you guys discuss perfumes and stuff? I need to get in on that. That's cool. Actually someone interested in that. Could you make a video playing my guitar? Check out my old videos, you'll see. Although I probably will do an old school style cover at some point. I'm just trying to get my amp together. Right now I'm trying to swap the speaker. I got the wrong impedance speaker, so I'm buying the correct impedance speaker, and when I bought the amp, the power tubes were really old, so I had to replace them, swap the speaker, and then maybe get an SM57 in order to mic it correctly so it sounds correct. You know, there's a lot of stuff, but I'm working on getting a setup there. A good actual real tube amp and metal tone set up there so that I could actually make a video like that. Do I believe in the XLR sound difference? Well, yeah, actually I'm using the Rode NT1 here. I'm not sponsored by Rode, by the way. I asked a lot of people, and a lot of people were saying, like, get this, and like, a lot of people were just like, get this, don't get the NT1A. So I did, and it's actually awesome. And I'm using a Focusrite Scarlett Solo. XLR has the potential to have, it seems like, better sound quality than USB. Maybe. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for that. But that's been my experience with USB mics versus XLR Pro mics. Have I tried using a physical equalizer? I mean, I played with EQ a lot in the past. I used to have like a, I don't know, 80s EQ, active EQ box that you could plug in and out of with RCA cables. So yeah, I've been playing with those for a long time, but I'm probably not going to get something with hardware now because it's so expensive compared to just using APO. But maybe in the future, we'll see. I got to try SonarWorks, by the way. That's still on my to-do list. Have I heard about the British company that claims to have developed an electrostatic hybrid driver? Really? I don't remember that. You have to remind me of the name of that. I have not heard of that before. Crap, I lost my place again. Here we go. An Apogee Groove. Am I going to have to Google this now? Oh, one of those. Okay. Wouldn't that be like a competitor to the, what's it called? Wow, Dragonfly probably. Looks like it. AKG did the Bluetooth K90. Oh, yeah, the N90Q. Oh, please, no. That is a very grainy sounding headphone. And it does try to get the sound right for your ears by scanning them. That, like, JBL Everest Elite sort of thing. But I've actually heard it, surprisingly. And yeah, don't buy that thing for that price. Not even close. No, I don't have a preference for brighter sound. I'd actually prefer darker, which is kind of why I like the Harman response. It's got more rolled off treble than diffuse field would call for generally. Arsenal favorite open back under $150. I'm probably going to have to go with the 598 on that, or the 599 now apparently, which is coming down. Will I review the 58X from Mastrop, the Jubilee? If I get my hands on one, yeah, sure. Rosenthal Automotive. I have seen that guy's reviews, but I haven't subscribed. I'll have to check him out some more now. What type of kid was I in high school? I was trying to fit in with the punk crowd or the goth crowd or something. I was always into metal, always listening to that stuff. But that was me. That was a while ago. I'm just to date myself. I'm 27 right now. Let's see. Do I like the idea of the 58X? I'm not sure if people were asking for the 58X because at the price point it's being offered at, there's the 599 already. And I don't know if it's really going to be better than the 599 because, like I said earlier, it seems like they gimped the resolution and they cut corners. And I don't know what the result's going to be. It's pretty interesting. I don't really know. I don't know if that's a good or a bad move for Sennheiser or for the consumer yet. We'll see. Aston Martin Valkyrie. Yeah. What's the other one? The Vulcan. Oh man, that thing's so awesome. I also watched the Grand Tour. Another reason why I got the TV was because so I could watch the Grand Tour in HDR on Amazon. So awesome. Let's see. Yeah. I was the type of kid who wore Axe. Yeah. Oh my god, that's funny. Have I heard the Edition X? No. I know it's cheaper than the HE1000 and easier to drive and supposedly sounds similar. That's what Zio says, but I would have to try it myself. Peanut butter to jelly ratio. Oh man, you gotta pile on that natural creamy peanut butter, dude, and it's gotta be natural and it's gotta be creamy. And the jelly, you just put a bit on there. You just enough to like cover the bread, because if you go too far, then it becomes a dessert, and you don't want that either. That's my opinion on PB&J. I never thought I'd be asked that one. ELA to the heaviest headphone I have. Yeah, that's right. That's true. This thing is really heavy and sounds weird. Oh, this is mostly the headband, I think, moving around up here. It's not the metal creaking, thankfully. What camera am I using? I have been using the Logitech C920 for like a billion years. And I don't actually have a camera, and maybe someday that will change. But right now, I'm just used to sitting in front of the computer and talking to the webcam or the screen or whatever it is. So I just stick with it for now, and I have greatly improved the audio, both the audio and video quality with time by switching up my setup. So many hours of research. Anyway, if I want a tube amp, get a dark voice. I don't know. I'm starting to like lose it here, guys. No, not really. I don't know enough about amps to really tell you for sure if that's awesome. Let's see. Do I play games? Oh, do you mean XLR is balanced as in XLR amps or XLR mics? Because I had described earlier with mics. Maybe that's what he was asking. Sorry. Do I play games? What have I been playing lately? I used to play video games all the time, constantly. I grew up with them. I grew up with only PC games, never actually owned a console. So I've been through a lot of those classics. I watch channels like the 8-Bit Guy and Lazy Game Reviews. Lazy Game Reviews looks like a clone. It feels like he's a clone of me from way back then. Like, just same exact games all the time. It's like, wow, I played all that stuff. The last game I was playing seriously was probably Battlefield 1. But I don't play that much anymore for reasons. Let's see. Bought an AT 2020 and it's finicky. Really? That's weird. Well, well, for one thing, condensers will pick up a lot of details, so that's not that unusual. You can hear all kinds of things that you may not even notice that your mic was ever picking up, or you may not notice just listening in the past. That's the way XLR condenser mics like that is. Do I think this is the new golden age of high quality headphones personal audio? I hope it is. I think we're working on, actually I think we're approaching that, and this is just the beginning. That's what I personally think right now. I think we're just discovering where we need to go in terms of headphones. And it's crazy because speakers and audio has been around forever, and we are just getting started, it seems like, with headphones. That's what I think. Let's see. XLR setup is pricier because you need an interface, but it's a better choice. Yeah, if sound quality is number one for you, absolutely XLR mics. All right, I'm gonna answer a couple more questions here, and then we're gonna stop it, and then I'm gonna upload it so that everyone else can watch in a couple minutes here. So let's finish up. aptX HD, Sony's LDAC Bluetooth streaming has been impressing me a lot. Yeah, that's what I thought. A lot of the new Bluetooth codecs are coming up in terms of sound quality. You like the cream color of the 598. You are not alone. I actually really like it too. What do I use? Most ugly and pretty looking headphone. I would have to think for like 10 minutes on that one. There's just been too many headphones to consider. But one that I think looks the best that for some reason I have an obsession with the AD2000X, the Audio-Technica open back. Wow, does that thing look pretty in pictures and in person. Let's see. What do I use for reference tracks? I actually have a Spotify playlist. I should probably post that at some point. But it's a real big mix. Pretty much everything. But I also integrated some of the test tracks from, what's his name? Bobcats and Tile into it as well. So I kind of can hear what they are probably going to say. By guessing based on the sound, based on the how those tracks come across. How's the 599? I reviewed it. It's good though, as long as it's 149. Room tour. Well, I actually have not done that in a while. Maybe at some point I'll do a video of that. But really, there's not much going on in here. This is just headphones behind me. There's some bookshelves in front of me and my desktop. And people are going to yell at me, but the desktop's on the floor to make it as quiet as possible for the mic. And I put a bunch of Noctuas in it recently to make it even quieter. And in front of me is the monitor, and then I got my amps and stuff over here. So there's not that much going on in this room. This is just a room for doing this stuff, and it's my main desktop room. Am I into tuna? I love albacore, but supposedly the mercury level is higher, so I've been eating a lot of chunk light lately instead. Which is, probably pitiful compared to... You're probably asking about rare ahi tuna or something. I need to try that. I have not. Favorite closed back headphones. Wearing one of them, K553. Favorite all time. That's tough. There's just so many compromises with closed backs. I think the EL8 is starting to grow on me as one of the better ones as well that I've heard. But I don't have any I don't really love any particular closed backs. Absolutely love them. Because as a reviewer, I have to be a critic of everything. But the least flawed that I like the most are probably those. The X00 is not completely closed, but that one I would definitely... I love that thing too. Alright. blah blah blah. Looking for a below $100 headphone, very good for classic music with fine bass. Yeah, I mean M40Xs are accurate but boring. That's true, and it's under $100. Probably what I would pick. H800 looks awesome. I agree. Let's see what else we got. We have any really good questions here, and I am going to close down here in a second. Let me just find one. Do I believe in snake oil? No, I hate that stuff. Headphone cables, I am a huge critic of. Why would anyone ever pay 50 grand for headphone cables? Stupid. So that's my take on snake oil. It is snake oil. All right. Let's see. Anything you come up with as different cans? I don't know what you're asking there. One last question. All right, I'll answer this one. What music file format do I use? If I had to choose, I would do FLAC 9624 all day if I could have my whole collection in that. Love FLAC. All right, that's all for today. Thanks, guys, for coming. Any further questions? If I get a chance, I'll answer them in the comments. And I hope this was useful. I hope. Hopefully 2018 brings us lots more good headphones, because 2017 brought us quite a few new ones. Now let's see if they all continue to get better further. And I'll see you guys in the next stream. Thanks for coming around, and don't worry, this will be uploaded. So if your friends watch me for some reason, you can let them know that they need to watch this hour and 20-minute thing. And have a good Christmas, have a good holiday. See you guys soon. Thanks.